And welcome back to Fox 5's On the Hill Live this Sunday morning. The Biden administration is having a surprisingly busy August. This week, the president signed the Inflation Reduction Act. Fox 5 sat down with the Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, to discuss that and other transportation issues in the DMV region.
Secretary Pete Buttigieg, thanks for joining Fox 5.
Great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
I want to start with the infrastructure package right now. $3 trillion. What can people expect out of that that's going to change their lives?
Well, so many good things are coming through these legislative accomplishments. We're hard at work, of course, delivering the bipartisan infrastructure law the president signed last year. That's everything from transit to trains to airports, ports, roads and bridges, things we count on every day. And then with this newest good news, and I was so proud to be on hand when the president signed the Inflation Reduction Act, that's going to make it more affordable to set up your home to be weatherproofed so you can save money on heating and cooling. Importantly, it's going to make electric vehicles more affordable because we need to make sure that the price point is lower on those EVs so more people can get the fuel savings if they choose to go electric. And a lot of funding that's going to help us connect neighborhoods that are currently not as well connected as they should be with the transportation they have.
But you know, when we hear people complain about inflation, they're not talking about green cars specifically. They're usually not talking about connectivity. They're talking about the prices in their supermarket. How will the Inflation Reduction Act actually reduce inflation that's really hurting people's pocketbooks right now?
Well, it's very clear that the inflation we're experiencing right now is largely driven by constraints on the supply side of our economy. And to take the example that's probably closest to transportation, we've seen a lot of issues with supply chains being overwhelmed, unable to keep up with the demand that is coming in. And that leads to higher shipping costs. Higher shipping costs are a factor in higher prices. So when we make investments in better transportation, in better ways for goods to move to where they need to be, more of that fluidity in the way that goods move around, we know that we're also making an investment in that fight against inflation. I think that's one of the reasons why so many economists, whether we're talking about the infrastructure package or the Inflation Reduction Act, and on the Inflation Reduction Act, frankly, a lot of economists who have been very critical of this administration in general have spoken about the economic benefits that are going to come from having this passed. The last thing I'll mention is that this Inflation Reduction Act will dramatically reduce the federal deficit, and that, because of the way interest rates work, is also something that helps in the fight against inflation.
Secretary, I want to ask you about some transportation issues around the nation's capital. As you know, Interstate 270 has been clogged with traffic that has basically been described as soul-crushing by the people who experience it every day. The Republican governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan, had sent you a letter asking to reverse a federal decision to not move forward with his plans to widen that road, add express lanes. Where is that right now, and how keyed in are you on that project, which leads right into the heart of Washington?
Yeah, so I've talked to the governor about this, and there's been no decision either way. There's a process to make sure that that the law is being followed in how that project unfolds. Ultimately, it's up to the Maryland DOT to deliver it. The Federal Highway Administration has to make sure that it conforms to the letter of the law, and that's the process they're going through right now. So I don't have any final or big news to make today, but I'll tell you that our highway folks and the Maryland DOT have been in frequent contact working this project through. I'll also say more broadly that this is one of the reasons I'm so excited about the announcements that I'm here to discuss in terms of the funding that we are bringing to enhance transportation across the DMV region. So that in addition to projects that have been underway or discussed for some time, we're able to now fund things from the improvements in New Carrollton to redo the train hall there. That's going to be good for commuters and good for that whole neighborhood around there, to the investments through our program for low and no emission buses that are going to help with the circulator, for example, and over on the Maryland side. Because if you don't use transit, you benefit from when people do, because of course better transit options means less congestion for people driving.
Let's stay on trains for a moment. As you probably know, Metro, the DC subway, has a $350 million budget gap. It's got a brand new GM in charge. How involved will you be in what is a critical core transportation system here in the DMV?
Well, yeah, the metro is so important to so many people, and frankly, it's also important to the smooth operation of the federal government because so many federal employees count on the metro. So many military personnel in this region count on the metro, and so it's something that we continue to watch closely and to strongly support. It's why it's the only transit system that actually has a direct line item in my department's budget, and we're looking right now at how to sustain the right level of support in the request for the future. And it's one of the reasons we're proud that the bipartisan infrastructure law that the president signed has more support for transit than at any time in the history of the United States, because we know that while these systems are local and they're usually managed on a regional basis, they also deserve federal support because of the economic benefit and just the day-to-day benefit in terms of convenience, in terms of safety, and even as part of the fight against climate change that comes with making it easier for more people to take advantage of good transit.
I want to end on the political climate right now. Of course, we're heading into the midterm elections. What do Democrats need to do in the next 2 months to make their case to voters? And there's been a lot of talk about you lately, that if the president decides at some point that, you know, maybe he's going to tip his hat and walk off into the sunset here, that you might again run for president. I know those are two different questions, but could you tackle them individually?
Well, because I'm appearing in a cabinet capacity, I can't talk about campaigns at all. What I will say is that I'm very proud to be part of this administration, to serve under this president who has delivered historic achievement after achievement. I mean, you know, a lot of people turned out their nose at the idea that you could get anything done in Washington anymore. They even said it was naive to believe that you could bring people to the table and make things happen. And yet, from the rescue plan to the historic infrastructure package that we're delivering right now, including with all of these recent announcements, in the DMV, whether you're talking about the burn pits legislation for veterans, my generation of veterans will particularly benefit from that after what they were exposed to in Iraq and Afghanistan, or of course this Inflation Reduction Act. It is an incredible record of accomplishment, and I'm just proud to be a part of this team and to be serving in this Biden-Harris administration.
And with that, Secretary Pete Buttigieg, we want to thank you for appearing with us here at Fox 5's On the Hill.
Thank you. Good to be with you.